Hi, guys. I'm glad that you've chosen to study the Elijah Elisha cycle of stories, as they're called, in 1 Kings and 2 Kings over the Lenten season. What you really ought to do is open the back of your Bibles and look at a map, and you'll see a map of Israel. And you'll notice the bodies of water. You have the Mediterranean to the west, and then to the south, you've got the Red Sea. And these waterways are very important to understand the Israelite kingdom, because when David and Solomon ruled that piece of land called Canaan in between the Mediterranean and the Red Sea, and also between Egypt and the Mesopotamia, you see that they're in the middle of the earth, and all land and sea passages were crossing through the land, and that's where Solomon got all his riches, because of the trade routes. Okay, this is very important to understand the kingdom. Now, in the 10th century, the north separated from the south. The south was dominated by Jerusalem, and it was stable because of this domination for hundreds and hundreds of years. The Davidic dynasty was very powerful. In contrast, in the north, you'll see that there were hardly any dynasties, and there was great instability in the country. When a person would be a king for a while, then you get assassinated, and so on and so forth. Up until the Omrides, okay, and King Omri became powerful, and he had a dynasty of 3 generations, and Ahaz was in the middle of this. Now, understanding the trade routes and the sea routes, you can understand why Ahab would marry Jezebel, who was a Phoenician princess. Tyre at this time had fleets of ships that were going up and down the coast of Africa, and they're the ones that established Carthage. Okay, Carthage is a Canaanite word, which was like Hebrew. It comes from the word new city. It's kind of like the New York of their times. And so they had all of the rich trade along the northern side of Africa, and also the inland trade routes, and also going on to the Red Sea, where you got trade with the eastern part of Africa and even all the way to India. So all sorts of exotic things were going on. In chapter 18, verse 10, when Ahab is looking for Elijah, his Ahab's servant. So we searched out every country in the known world looking for you. They had the ability to do that because the power and the extent of their connections. So we have to realize that there were 2 forces in the unstable north that made it unstable, and that is, they were the children of Israelite who were basically out into the countryside, but they never ever fulfilled God's command to get rid of the Canaanites in the cities. So the Canaanites in the cities were connected with their old connections with Tyre and Sidon, and so Ahab marries Jezebel to consolidate all this. Okay, Ahab himself was conflicted. He was an Israelite and of the religion of Yahweh, but he married Jezebel and was involved up to his eyeballs in Baalism. Jezebel actually means Baal is my help. And Phoenicia was very famous for child sacrifices and what have you. By the way, Hannibal from Carthage means Baal is gracious, okay? And the Romans thought that the the Carthage was very backward because of its all child sacrifice. So all this is behind the story here with Ahab and his confrontation with Elijah and Elisha. It's a confrontation between belief in Yahweh with paganism, which was making deep inroads and had always had deep inroads in the northern tribes. And so we see that it's you could see how we today are in a similar situation. In some ways, things never really change. So anyways, I hope that this little background will help you as you read the story. This is not some little backward history of some little country. I mean, this was really Israel is part of a huge culture at this time. And so anyways, off the top of my head, that's what I have for you this time. And God bless you in your studies.